Good evening. Well, I spent many hours in Parliament yesterday. I gave my maiden speech, and I was in today, of course, for the first Prime Minister's questions, the big, great piece of theatre that is, I mean, really, let's be honest about it, quite a global sensation. What have I noticed so far in the Parliament? Well, I have to tell you, I reckon it is between 85 and 90% Remainers. I reckon it's over 50% rejoiners. I mean, they would literally rejoin the European Union tomorrow. And if you even mention or dare to mention legal or illegal immigration, they look at you, they raise their eyes as if you're spoiling a really rather convivial dinner party. So I don't actually think our electoral system, our first-past-the-post system, is giving us really an especially balanced parliament that represents the views of the country. That's me. But then again, you know, any parliament that I'm in, I'm always in a tiny minority in the chamber. But what's also been really interesting, right from Monday when Keir Starmer gave a long speech, he talked about the NATO summit, the European political community. What has been clear from Rishi Sunak, what has been clear from many, many Conservative MPs getting up and speaking, is that they all seem to agree on anything. It appears to be a bit of a uni-party. Let's have a look at Rishi Sunak speaking at the dispatch box in PMQs today.
Mr. Speaker, I'm glad in our exchanges so far we have maintained a cross-party consensus on important matters of foreign policy. I'm glad to hear the Prime Minister raise the NATO summit as well, because I very much welcome the message that came out loud and clear from that summit, and indeed the Prime Minister's words from the dispatch box on Monday about Ukraine's irreversible path to NATO membership. I know firsthand how important it is that our Prime Minister can use his prerogative power to quickly respond militarily to protect British national security, sometimes without giving this House prior notice. Now, these are perhaps the most difficult decisions that a Prime Minister can take, and I welcomed his support when I made them. And I want to take this opportunity to assure him of the opposition's support if he deems it necessary to take similar action in the future.
And that's the tone. Everyone agrees on pretty much everything. And, you know, there was a Bob Blackman, who's a Conservative member of Parliament for Harrow East. He was speaking yesterday, and I was tempted to shout out, you're on the wrong side of the house, mate. You should be across with the Labour Party. I literally can't tell them apart. Is there an opposition? I'd love to get your thoughts on this, Farage at GBNews. Now, I raised this point. OK, the Conservatives have taken a terrible beating. Maybe there's an argument for just a little bit of humility from them. But I think it's important for democracy to work, especially when you have a Labour government with a huge majority. I think an opposition voice that asks serious questions is actually an essential part of that process.